Hail, hail, and welcome to A Celtic World. We're a YouTube channel and podcast that shines a light on the worldwide Celtic support. On this show, we give a little bit of a North American slant on things Celtic, but wherever you are, you're all part of a Celtic world. So Celtics back from the doldrums of an international break, which always sucks. And we had a little visit to Rugby Park. So, start off with a few new players in the lineup, which is always fun. A little bit of a delayed arrival from our support, the Celtic 12th man. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And I would say the performance, was a bit disjointed and sloppy, and especially in the first half, but definitely better in the second half, and probably some of the best football we played all season so far. And then, our striker showing a bit of balls bearing a late penalty. So 3 points in the bag on that pitch is never a bad thing. But like I said, we'll get deeper in that as we go on tonight. But first, want to say hello to Chris from Bell Buckle. How we doing tonight, Chris?
We're all right. And yourself?
Doing good, man. And then we got Dr. J back. Had him on a few weeks ago. Welcome.
How you guys doing? This time I remembered to mute myself.
Nice.
Worked out perfect.
And then we have a new guest tonight, Drew from Knoxville, Tennessee. They got the Scruffy City CSC down there.
Oh, yeah. You already know, fellas. Absolute pleasure being on here. Can't wait to talk all about it.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. So I guess I wanted to start off with Drew because I think that's kind of been our go-to, like whenever we got new people on. Because everybody over here has a story, like how you got into it. Some crazier than others, like Dr. J's is great with found out about him on eBay basically, and then has lifelong friends basically from it, which is amazing. But where did you start off in it?
Yeah, so my story is it's pretty crazy. So it started off in Prague, Czech Republic. So I spent about 5 years over there, finishing up my senior year of high school and going to college over there. And during my senior year of high school, had this religious professor named Joe from Glasgow, massive Celtic supporter, runs the Prague 67 supporters club over there. And he knew that I loved the sport, always a supporter of U.S. soccer. Didn't really have a club, though, because obviously Atlanta, where I grew up, didn't have Atlanta United. That was a few years prior. And so it was ironically when we lost to Rangers in the Cup semifinal of 2015-2016, he was like, come to the pub, see what it's all about. And the best way to describe it, and Chris will exactly know what I mean, it felt like as if I was watching an SEC football game, Washington, Tennessee. Just the intensity, just the passion was like unbelievable, next to none. And from that moment on, I knew, I was like, this is it. This is a club for me. And I've always loved the ethos of being a club for, open to all, for everyone. And absolutely been in love with the club ever since.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, me and Chris got to meet you last year in South Bend, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that also wasn't the first time I met Drew. We had we met each other, I guess, in a Atlanta Celtic Rangers match. He was in town for, and we'd been messaging on Twitter or whatever, and I basically set it up for Atlanta. There at the Elder Tree, and we all showed up at 7 a.m. and got it done. And there was 14 people.
Yeah, it was a good crowd.
And just advertising without really a club or whatever. But then Drew and I just began messaging back and forth, and we got to hang out last year at Notre Dame. So yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's kind of like us with Dr. J. Like we had those moments back in 2016 going to Georgia, and all the times at the Plow at the Phillies and stuff. So and Chris, you say it every week, it's that's what Celtic is to you. It's those bonds you build and the relationships, that's what it's all about. How, in terms of the CSC down there in Knoxville, what's your usual turnout? I don't know, and how often do you get down there, I guess, is a
question. It's always tough during football season, and it's going to be even more difficult this year, if us not qualifying for Champions League. So like every other league match is on a Sunday, and I unfortunately, have to do radio stuff on Sundays anyway. So a little tough making it down there. But we have, for all things considered, for a town of like 180,000 people, we have anywhere between like 6 to 12 people that tend to show up. So a pretty decent following nonetheless. But man, I'll tell you what, those 7 a.m. kickoffs are like absolutely brutal. trying to organize people to get to the bar and start drinking at 7 a.m. and watching the hoops. Like it takes a lot of courage, but we managed to get it, at least once a month or so.
Oh, nice. That's, and I've said that on some of the other ones we've done, like those like smaller ones that like you get those religious 6 to 8 guys. Maybe it's not big like New York or the Boston ones, but it's still like when you have that certain following that are going to be there every week, week in and week out, and then you add in a few here and there, and especially for big games, you'll tend to get a bigger crowd. But like I think that's where like those kind of CSEs are built, and like that's what I love to see. Like in terms of like I guess supporting Celtic in the South, and I guess you all three of you can kind of speak to that, but like Chris, what do you think? Like is it growing? Do you think it's growing?
I do think it's growing. Where it's growing, it would probably be in the larger cities. Atlanta has definitely grown in the last 5 or 6 years. Holy City and Charleston's growing. There's talk of a Nashville club that I'm kind of investigating, and the guys in Knoxville. I've heard there's a club in Memphis. Don't know anything about it. So from a Southern perspective, we're already kind of behind the 8 ball on a lot of issues because, like Drew said, SEC football in the South, from September till December. That's the majority of anything that anybody's going to be talking about, really invested in, and you'll find these pockets here and there, but it is a lot tougher, and it may be because the sport is not as big down south, or there's just not enough exposure, or whatever it is. But you have things like Celtic going to North Carolina last year. I know there was a lot of people in North Carolina that maybe wouldn't have known anything about Celtic, and after that match they were like, man, Celtic, that was a lot of fun. Those fans that were there really made a noise and made a presence. So I would say overall in the South there's a growing following for Celtic Football Club, but I don't think we're there yet as far as having an actual club at like in Bell Buckle, for example. Like there's just not enough people. There's just not enough people that are going to be invested at 7 a.m., let alone 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. So
right. Doc, what about you in South Carolina? Like, because you have being in Myrtle Beach, I don't know, probably not a lot there, but like
No,
you
not really.
You go to Charleston.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because I met Connor back with you guys up in Philadelphia when he was up there, and just crazy. He's like, hey, listen, I happen to be in Charleston when my kids go to school down there, and just going, I'm downtown. Let's get together and watch the game together. Sure. So I drove out to his house, and we chatted for a while, hung out, and I said, we should get something started here. And he's like, okay. And he's nice enough to, in what he talks about, and to say that like I in some way inspired him to do it, or we conversated, and he kind of started it after the conversation, which is really sweet of him to say. But it was nothing more than, hey, listen, I brought donuts. Let's watch a game. And it was cool. And he's a great guy. I love hanging out with him and his wife. Sherry's awesome too. And it's cool to see him get together and then put together some people. And I get to go probably once every 2-3 months. It's 7 a.m. is tough, especially I live an hour and a half away. And it's a long trip to get down there. But he's getting, 6, 8, 10, and you can't drink until 8 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. So if you get there at 7, it's like coffee and breakfast, and then you can go ahead and drink at 8 o'clock. but it's the Matarua, which is in just outside. It's in quote unquote North Charleston. Really, really cool pub. People are really cool. It's really fun to go. I mean, obviously games against them, you're looking at 30, 35 people there sometimes. Cup final was really fun to be at, other than the outcome this year. But I mean, it was outside. It's gorgeous. That's one of the advantages for us. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous in Charleston usually on a weather basis, and we have an outdoor screen and a bar outside as well, part of the Madra, and they let us just basically put flags up and everything else. You walk in, it's almost as if you're you didn't know you were in Charleston. You're probably somewhere closer to the stadium, but it's one of those things that's really, really cool, and I'm really, really proud of him. He's done a really good job building that, and it's good to see that build up. And it's crazy. I mean, Drew's story is crazy. The story of Chris's whole thing. My story is ridiculous, but we're not the only ones, and it's really cool to see that. I think that's one of the issues that I think if you're watching this and you don't really just like Celtic fans talking or people who are Americans thinking something. It's one of those things that people have really gotten involved in this, and they become invested. I think one of the sayings that I heard from someone else, and it's totally true. The Yankees may be my first love, but Celtic would be my longest lasting. And it's because I've been lucky enough to go to games and meet players, meet coaches, be involved, have friends that are based on this, as compared to I watch the Yankees on TV. And I think that connection is different within quote unquote European football versus what we deal with here. Now, granted, in college sports, as we've all, the three of us, Chris, Drew, and I basically said we all hate Vanderbilt today. But South Carolina fan losing at home to Vanderbilt, I don't understand. But anyway, one of those situations, it's because you may have gone to school with those people. You know what I mean? Or you have some level of connection with someone on the team or within the school itself. That allows you to go ahead and have that connection, which is a little bit stronger in the U.S. Because I know, man, when I have friends over there, and I'd say, you should really look at these games and look at the intros, for example. It's the funniest thing ever because that happens all the time. I get I'll send a friend of mine this intro to a South Carolina game, and they're like, "How many people show up to a college game?" I'm like, "Yeah, they get 60,000, 70,000 people, 82,000, whatever it is in South Carolina." And Georgia, what, 100,000, and Tennessee, 180,000, whatever it is in the damn stadium they got there. But to watch college, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I to go over there and watch Max play in the Lone League, 2 years ago. It's crazy because he'd get 30 in the Lone League, but in college, get 100,000 people. There's a connection there, and I think that connection is kind of mimics what European football is in college sports here in the U.S. because that it's the connection with friends that you went to school with that now have that connection, as compared to, I mean, I don't see a lot of fans traveling across to go watch the New York Football Giants play, the LA Chargers, where I know I have LSU fans that will travel anywhere in order to go ahead and win the game of how many shots you could have at the College World Series. Go look at it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. LSU always wins if they're in the NCAA baseball championships. They always win the shot contest. You look it up; it's like jello shots. Anyway, but it's crazy because I don't think people realize once a U.S. sports fan sees that and gets that connection, it's natural to us because we do it in college sports. And now for me, it's replaced all these things. Like, for example, I haven't watched a Yankee game from beginning to end in probably 10 years, 8 years. I haven't watched a Yankee game from beginning to end. And God knows, Yankees, Red Sox, I haven't watched a Yankee game. But I was in the middle of something. I was actually in Italy this week. And I'm in the middle of something, and I totally forgot because usually a game at 3 o'clock is a 10 o'clock kickoff. And now it's kicking off at 4 o'clock in the middle of something. And I freak out and go, oh my God. And I actually had to stop what I was doing and search my phone and go find the result and go, oh God, okay, great. We scored great. And then throwing my phone across the room because we would goal in the 82nd minute or 86th minute or whatever. And then Stacy's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, ah. And then I put it down. She goes, well, what's the final score? oh shit, we won. You know, it was just crazy. It's like, you know, I don't
Right.
do that. I don't do that with the Yankees.
No, it's more of an event. Like every week it is an event, and that's what it is in college football too. Like I went to the my first Penn State game over the weekend, and they're playing Villanova, which is a FCS team, and it was packed. 109,000 people, I think, was what the attendance said. I don't know if that was actually true, but like it's crazy. But like those are like events, and like the 162 game baseball season, it loses that event feel. But somehow, like Celtic play a 38 game season, and then Champions League and League Cup, Scottish Cup, you're playing a lot of games. But I mean, I'm sure for you guys too. For me, every game is an event that I, will try my hardest not to miss. I mean, sometimes you're stuck, but like I'm there every week, and that's what is different from, like you said, like for me it would probably, like you said, the Yankees are my first love. Celtic will be my longest love, and I would probably said the Eagles before. But yeah, it's the Celtic has just far surpassed that feel of what being a supporter of a athletic team would be. But where do you so Drew, how do you see, like just in terms of how to grow it more down in Knoxville, your club, like what kind of, is there like clubs for like EPL teams, United and Manchester United, Chelsea, City, all those teams?
Yeah, so like Knoxville is a pretty unique I guess soccer city in that sense, is that there's EPL bars all over this town. Like there's a supporters club for West Ham, there's a supporters club for Man United, City, Arsenal, Spurs. The place that we watch at Alliance Brewing Company, we share with Everton and Spurs as well. And so every weekend, like we have the opportunity to be able to watch it. I think one of the biggest struggles that Celtic has, and really just Scottish football in general compared to like English Premier League and Bundesliga, is that just the lack of TV coverage. You know what I mean? You get about one or two matches on CBS Sports Network a week, and then you got Paramount Plus, and that's really about it. And I'm just going to call it spade a spade. Celtic TV does a terrible job, like most of the time anyway, as far as coverage. And just the product itself is just not very good. And so when you're dealing with all those variables, I think it becomes a little bit challenging as a CFC and as a, just a supporter in general. But the thing is that it's just, this club is so special in the sense as far as the community feel of it. And, kind of like what to Dr. J and like Chris was implying, it doesn't matter where you go across the U.S. now, it feels like every major city more or less has a supporters club. And there's not a lot of clubs that have that all together. I mean, even during my time abroad, it was like, we had like a vacation once, and it's like somewhere in Crete and in a village of like maybe a couple thousand people. And I was like, we're playing a qualifier against like some team from Norway. And I was like, surely I could be able to find a bar. And sure enough, I looked on Self's bar and it was literally there. And so it the odds of that, but it's just like, that speaks the magnitude of like how massive this club is and like, how much it means to people as well. And I think correlating that with like college football and making people here kind of look at that comparison, it's a lot more relatable than, like as Dr. J said, like Yankees or even the NFL. The NFL is so widespread out. Like most people in Tennessee don't even care that much about the Titans for a lot of reasons, but more or less because it's, a relatively new thing and it only focuses like in one part of the state.
Right. Yeah, that's what, and me up at Penn State, I'm like hanging out with family, and I'm, go to a bar post game, and I'm sitting at the bar, and literally as Tennessee is lining up to kick the winning field goal on Saturday, and I'm like, because I knew Chris was saying he might have to sing rock, he might have to sing Rocky Top.
Notice I didn't say anything, Drew.
No, don't say anything now. Don't say anything now.
I couldn't help it.
That's why I said we all hate Vandy. Just everyone hate Vandy. We call it.
Agreed.
No,
Agreed.
but see,
Agreed.
that's not true either, Dr. J. Vanderbilt came to play this past weekend. You can't hate them for that. They've been terrible forever.
I'm not. I have nothing to say. That game was at 3 a.m. for me. But anyway, yeah. And I woke up in the morning, looked at my phone, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Anyway, so.
Moving on.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
More American sports chat. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the game then. The match on over the weekend. So I guess first things first, we had the the 12th man protest, which I thought was a cool idea. Would have been better probably if everybody did it and that whole stand was empty, but you can't. People are going to do their thing, and they I think even put in the statement like that there was no hard feelings on anybody who didn't do it. But I think also it was good to see some of the CSCs over here. Then while we can't be over there to go to the match, and I'm just going to post a picture of Chicago, posting a little sign of back the team, sack the board, and then Detroit. So just some of the clubs over here getting involved, I thought was cool. Chris, what did you think about all that?
I've got a train, so I have to mute myself again.
All right. Drew, how about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's very encouraging, to see, and quite honestly, I think more CSCs across the world need to be more vocal about it. Just what the board has done this past window is just absolutely disgraceful. Waiting as usual just to do their business at the very last second. But knowing that, I mean, quite honestly, had we gotten Sebastian and, a couple wingers before that playoff, tie, we're probably qualified, and then we're able to get a solidified striker in there and everything. And because we wait very last second, it just, it collapsed right in front of us. And we didn't really see a lot of reinforcements. I think, you have to give the wingers a chance, and Sebastian looked great on Sunday. But, there's a lot of question marks when it comes to the striker position. I've been very vocal about Dyson not being, he's just naturally not a striker. Doesn't have that killer instinct that, that we've seen from Kyogo and, so many other great strikers that we've had in the past. But, they have to continue to be vocal about it, because it's the only way that there's going to be any sorts of progress or change or better approach moving on, come January.
No, 100% agreed. And you saw, like you said, you saw what Tanecki did over the weekend, and that was exactly what we needed against Kairat Amadi, because nobody was willing to take on a man, and it seemed like every time he got the ball, he was trying to make something happen, which we were so lacking in those two games here or in Scotland and in Kazakhstan. Doc, what did you think?
I think my issue isn't necessarily the game. My issue is more along the lines of the two interviews between Balakwisha and Tanecki. Both of them saying that they've known for a long time Celtic was interested.
Yeah,
I think that's the one point. I'm not worried about Balakwisha. I've seen other videos on him. He looks like he can attack the goal. Get a little time to go ahead and get him what he needs to do, and he'll be fine. I'm assuming he'll be fine. Tanecki, obviously, watching him, he was just attack. I love that stuff. Very good. Excellent. No problem. That's not my issue. My issue is that they both said they had known for a long time.
Right.
And because they now that I think without something like Drew, imagine Drew being in the business. Imagine Drew, that you're trying to protect the brand as a broadcast partner, yet you still allowed that statement to be put out there that they both knew. Did that ring alarm bells to anyone else? The two people you brought in have known for over a month that they were wanted.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Then just listen. How long? I don't remember. It's just recent. At least go in there and tell them the lie, or tell them I don't know. My agent knows. I don't talk to my stuff. Talk about that. That'd have been a much better answer to give. That doesn't throw throws the board on the bus, and rightfully so. And I'm not saying that they need to be defended, but I'm saying that was absolutely just insane to me. So that when I saw intently watching those interviews to hear those comments, because I knew the first question, how long did you know? Because obviously the reporters want to go ahead and bang on the board as well, and deservedly so. If that's been the case. As far as the game, great. I'm happy about it. But I think if we're going to talk about change, then change has to happen because people realize what should have been and how they fucked it up. Not because they didn't spend money. That's not my issue. My issue is they didn't have to wait that long. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulty.
I thought we were getting dog balls in that one. That was at the back end. Anyway, so that's my issue. So yeah, the game. I actually did go back and watch the game, and watch the game back, and I was totally happy with it. But my issue is totally happy with the outcome. Excuse me. Yeah. But as far as everything else goes, my issue is from the last time I was on is more the interviews than anything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's been the theme of what we've been talking about for like the last month and like Drew, you nailed it. It's just like why do we wait? Why? It's crazy.
It's like you knew Kyogo was leaving in February. You knew that Ida was ready to leave. You knew Dyson wants to leave, and he said that publicly, which is insane to me. That like he would still, he'd still say that after the window. And you knew that, you knew that Jota wasn't going to be ready till January as well. And so your only viable options at winger were a 35-year-old James Forrest or Yang, he's nowhere even remotely close on being a Celtic player. And they could have gotten Sebastian, I think they said back in June for half the price that they paid for him, at the end of the window. It's just so much incompetence all across that board. It's just absolutely disgraceful.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, like what effect, like here's the crowd, and this is like pregame a little bit. So, I mean, visually it's not a good look for the club to see, your fans not in the stadium, but like, I don't know. You saw, I think Dermot Desmond came out today, like kind of being angry at the fans and our reaction to this, like that, like, well, we've been the club has been dominant for 15 years, so we're spoiled almost. Like
that came out today.
I thought I read it somewhere on one of the. Oh. It could have been bullshit, but. But I mean, in my mind, I can see him feeling that way, like, and probably a lot of the people on the board, like, what are these people talking about? We've like just done nothing but win. But I think the support and Brendan has shown like he wants bigger things for the club, like to have a little bit of success in Europe, like, which I think like you would say last year was like a successful run, and we've talked about it over the last few weeks. Just how did you not build upon that, like, and you just let it just go to shit, really? Like it's horrible.
But isn't that kind of the issue, though? Is that there's no transparency from the board itself to say that these are the goals that we want to do. We want to compete in Europe, right?
Yeah.
That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to compete in Europe. We want to sign major players. We want to be a major, team going into the Champions League. That's the level that we need to aim at every single year. And just to be told that, we've been successful for 15 years or whatever it is. That's great. But I mean, tell that to supporters that, fork over thousands of pounds a year. And then, you get one statement of a player that wants away, and then you're not going to let him, and you haven't replaced, 4 players that left or whatever. And I think all that anybody really wants is just accountability and some communication more than anything else. It's about the communication between the supporters and the board. If the board comes out and they're like, yeah, Tanecki, he's been on our radar for 4 months or whatever it is, and he's known about it for a month and a half. That's great, but like Dr. J said, if they wanted to put out some BS statement, they needed to lie about it and not say that he's known about it for a month, and then like everybody's on pins and needles, wondering whether or not we're going to sign somebody, like anybody at that point.
Yeah, we literally waited to the last day to sign Tanecki.
Yeah, and I mean, he and to be honest, he was impressive. I mean, he was attack, and that's something we desperately need. But I think y'all were both right about Dyson Maeda. I don't think that he's cut out for being up top. I think he can do well up top in spurts, but he's a left wing, right wing. You're not going to see him hold the line that much. I feel like he's ineffective when you try to let him hold up play. He needs to be scorching some left back somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like my big issue of Dyson too. Is just like I can count within the last 6 months of where he's had one-on-one opportunities with the keeper and hasn't been able to finish one. I mean, you talk about the one in Ibrox back in March or April where the league was already effectively won, but at a huge monumental moment. Cup final against Aberdeen had that near, at 90 plus minutes, and then you talk about the two ties in Kazakhstan, against the side from Kazakhstan as well, where he had that chance in the 85th and the 90th minute too, and it's just like he can't finish. This is not his strong suit, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's an unbelievable left winger, but you knew this has been an issue since Kyogo's left, and I think this is the problem that I have with the board. The biggest issue I have is that they have selective things on what they are communicative about. When it comes to their big financial report that they have at the end of the year, they love to talk about how much money they have in the bank and look, we made another 20 million, pounds, or we have 100 million pounds in the bank, and they try to get people all fired up. And then as soon as the window opens, it's just absolute crickets. And you're like, all right, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. It's been a month. Why are we not even reaching out to anybody? And they know they can get away with this because of the fact that Rangers are a way far significantly worse run club than we are. And everybody else after that is just, hoping just to break even or make a little bit of profit altogether.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this year they might almost keep that financial statement under wrap a little bit. I mean, it'll be like one of those late Saturday night announcements as opposed to we're gonna boast about this one. I don't know if they're gonna want to have the fans seeing we made however 30 million in profit or whatever, and didn't spend it on the players during the summer transfer window that would have got us through into Europe. So I don't know.
True question. True. When because once again the whole media thing, could you imagine from the media perspective? I'm just curious if you're running that interview, the press conference with Brendan, and he basically says it was cowardly, right? So what someone did, as a media person standing there, what goes through your head, and what do you think was going through Celtic TV's head as they put that out there? Because I mean, he's basically saying someone on the board, and he talked about everyone else except for Peter. So yeah, what do you think? What type of backpedaling do you think they were trying to do without pulling a hamstring?
I mean, I think they already knew the answer to that question, to be completely honest with you. And I think even everybody within the Celtic sport, when that anonymous person came out and tried to say what's actually going on, it's just they know that there's no proper communication between Brendan and Dermot and Peter and even Michael Nicholson as well. And so for Brendan at this point to be like, yeah, it was cowardly, they know what they're doing, and I know exactly who's saying this. I think that speaks volumes, because Brendan would have not said something like that 3 or 4 months ago. He seemed very confident about getting the extension on the contract and continue to stay. But the fact that he kind of knows, and the way he's been talking, it feels like as if he knows that this is his last season here, and it's just going to be a no holds bar. Because I mean, they didn't reach their end of the bargain. They didn't get the players that they needed. He's been desperately calling out for the squad to improve for months on end, and they haven't done anything about it. So from Brendan's perspective, I don't blame one bit for being like, they're extremely cowardly to do this, because what are they going to do? Sack him? And then the board's absolutely going to get sacked if that happens. So he's put them in a bad situation. It's either they come out and they make a statement themselves and you try to throw somebody under the bus, or they go back to the drawing board and go to the table with Rodgers and try to get an extension and try to make some progress. But he put the ball in their court, more or less.
Yeah, agreed.
Solid.
Before we start, if we can dig into the game a little bit, let me play a little clip from our subscribe clip.
Hello all the Celtic fans. Here in France we love the Celtic world. C'est fantastique. Subscribe. C'est un fait accompli.
New one every week.
I love it.
I like to listen to it first time without listening to it ahead of time. But so in terms of the match, I guess. So like I said at the beginning, like it's good. I love games where you get some new guys in the lineup. So one, Colby Donovan playing right back, and for him so far, I feel like he really hasn't put a foot wrong, like in any of the games he's played, which is a good sign. And then we talked a little bit about Taneki on the wing, and then Balikwisha is like he started against Rangers, but getting another, at least he played about 60 minutes or so. Getting to see new guys in the lineup is always fun. But in terms of, again, the first half starts, and I felt like it was kind of more of the way it's been the last, month watching Celtic, where like, God, I feel like we're never going to score a goal again. Like hardly creating any chances. I don't know. How did you see the first half, Chris?
First half was sloppy. I mean, I don't know if this is just a product of what we're putting out there or whatever, but it seems like we're slow. It seems that like the ball has to go through McGregor every time, and it's a pass backwards. And if somebody's making a run, nobody's there for it because the ball has already gone back to McGregor, and it goes around the hinge basically. And I the first half for me was just, it was sloppy, and it's a stalemate kind of thing where I don't know if we're if there's the intent to move the ball into the final third, but I mean it seems like that a lot of times we're just happy to play keep away from whoever we're playing and not attack them. Second half, I think things turned a little bit. You score the first goal and things kind of peaked up a little bit, and the passes were a little sharper or whatever, and then there towards the end we got sloppy again and we let them score. I think overall, I think we can be happy at 2-1. Nobody really got injured. We're moving on to the next one. I think that's the thing that we have to keep in mind is that this is a long season, and we're going to have these games where it's going to be 2-1. It'll be tied up until the 96th minute or whatever it is. So we had the penalty, but I don't know. I'm tired of the sloppy backwards stuff. So I mean, I'm going to be critical. I think Cal McGregor's a little slow, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. And he's not. I think, and again, that's another thing we talked about over the previous weeks. Teams are trying to take our opponents are trying to take him out of the game because they know that he is the focal point, that they want to get him the ball and then move things around. So but then McGregor's not really, and I do think you're right. I think he is a little bit of a step slow. He's just not able to make himself available to get that ball, and then we're stuck with, like we talked about, CCV to Scales back to CCV over to, the right back, and it's just nothing's happening, and it's just ugly to watch. But I don't know, Drew, what did you think of the first half?
Yeah, I mean, I think Paul probably said perfectly in the comments that BR playing shit football. I mean, I agree completely. It's been unbelievably painful to watch Celtic, so far this year. And even despite the fact that we've gotten some solid results, I mean, the one thing that we've been missing tremendously is that, we don't have that midfielder that could be able to create opportunities and be able to really progress forward. And that's what kind of worked a couple of years ago, with Matt O'Reilly. And, we're obviously missing that type of player. And I mean, I think Colin McGregor's he's a little, Chris said it perfectly that he's a little bit slow. It surprises me that we haven't gotten anybody that could be able to replace him, be able to put in that spot so that he can get some rest, because he plays an absurd amount of matches. But just a lack of creativity. I thought Sriracha from left back looked pretty solid. I mean, it's weird. I feel like Nigrin was okay in midfield. He had a couple of nightmare situations over there, defensively. He plays a little bit better out wide, in my opinion, when they did start him off over their right wing than as opposed to, in his current position now. But, this is one of those, it's playing at that plastic pitch over there at Rugby Park is always an absolute nightmare. So being able to get 3 points at the very end is, those are the type of matches that help you win the league. And we've seen that time and time again. So happy with the result, but the football is just dreadful to watch.
Yeah. Doc, how did you see it?
Yeah, I mean, yes. But I will say this. I think the goal kind of explains and proves Chris's point. The goal didn't come from that. The goal came across from a ball penetrating from the left back onto Dyson. And once again, that's also the way the penalty happened as well, as Donovan, who, played well as far as I'm concerned, but man, his ability to throw his man to the ground as he went by him.
He got thrown down in the first half.
He did. He ragdolled them. That was awesome. I love that. But I'm saying, but the goals didn't come from left, right. Once the ball, I mean, it just wasn't that. It was just, okay, now we have the ball in an area where we're going kind of left and right in the middle of the field, not back to the goalkeeper in the back, then back to the goalkeeper back. So, then the Sriracha pass was phenomenal, and Dyson on it was great. And it's sad because we scored 31 goals last year, 34, 31?
33 last year.
33? Okay, cool. I'll meet you halfway. And at that point in time, we're saying he's just not a finisher, which is, I mean, just if you look at the numbers, we sound totally either spoiled or idiotic that he can't finish when he scored 33 goals. But the truth is, like, in that one-on-one situation, he just hasn't, but he has that ability to go ahead and float in and be able to handle that. Yeah. So that's kind of asking him to do something that isn't his strong suit over the long haul, not allowing him to go ahead and press from the wings is really what the problem is. It's not that he can't finish; he just can't finish in that situation all the time, and not like he does when he's somewhere else. So I mean, yeah, that's the issue. Then one thing I will say this, Drew, about Calmac, Callum. I think once again the problem is we're trying to find somebody to go ahead and not replace him, but support him in a way in which we can have someone as a backup. Problem we got is, I mean, how many Sinisalos can we keep around? And I think that's where the problem is. I mean, obviously there's something going on with Sinisalos, an agreement to say, listen, you're good another year. Let's go and get you there. We'll get you some cup games, all this kind of stuff. Casper's not going to be 100% fit all the time, whatever. We're good there. I mean, but to keep someone who is that quality with that, is tough because once again, Calum's going to play. He's going to play 55, 60 games a year,
easily.
And and that's tough to keep that in reserve. To have that bullet in the chamber and just wait for it to be ready to be fired onto the field and attack is going to be a hard situation to go and convince somebody with any amount of quality. Yeah, just be this understudy. Right. And I think that's the problem that we've had. And then when you finally put something in there and they don't perform, that's a tough one to go ahead and try and square that circle. So I he is getting a little older. Was he 33, 32?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, does he need a little support? Yes. But I do think once again, trying to combat his slowness, our wing play has been pretty shitty. So that's going to open the field and allow it to go on from there. So that's another issue. And Rio has just been missing that killer pass lately. So
agreed.
And that kind of puts all the focus on Callum. So
right.
Anyway.
But you're saying like we can't keep another Sinisalo. Like, not only does McGregor play 60 games a season, he plays 90 minutes in 60 games a season. Like, He doesn't come out. I mean, it's the rarest of occasions where Brendan takes him out. I mean, I feel like it's got to be like a 6-0 lead in the 87th minute. He's like, all right, now I can take him out now, which I don't get. Like, I mean, I feel like there probably are those moments where, like, it would be good to throw in, like Jason said here, wasn't McCowan supposed to be McGregor's replacement? Just or give Bernardo. Bernardo has hardly played a minute.
That was exactly the person I was going to say as well. I mean, we spent like what, £4 or £5 million on him last year, a couple of years ago, and when he's been on the pitch, he's looked all right. But like, I mean, you've tried Engels time and time after again, and Engels is just so hit and miss. Hatate is just, I mean, he's so inconsistent as well. You might as well allow Bernardo to have a proper run, and maybe we see him on Sunday against Partick, in that League Cup match. But I mean, just give the boy a chance. I mean, it can't be any worse than what we have right now.
You're right. We've talked about it before. I feel like he's a European kind of, like, I think when we play in Europe, he kind of flourishes, like with his style of play matches that when you're playing those bigger teams that are, I don't know, like but Brendan just and especially this season, I mean, he's not putting them out there at all. Like, we've hardly seen like any time from him. You see a little bit of McCallan pretty much every match. You're going to get 15, 20 minutes of him towards the end. And Engels and Nygren are kind of interchangeable, I guess, in his mind right now. But Nygren's got the nod. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for McGregor, like in terms of, one, how do you give him a break? I do think giving him a break every now and again would be helpful to keeping him in top shape that you want him to be in, like when you're playing, because I guess you do. I mean, you want him for when you're playing Rangers, you want him in Europe. Like those games, and I guess on those away matches, those killy ones are tough, and so I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's not working right now in terms of how we get McGregor involved more into the play. But going back, you were talking about, like, so Dyson scores his goal. Great ball in from Srirachi. Great header from Dyson. And you saw a lot of, at least I saw a lot of people on social media that Dyson celebrated that goal properly. Yes, Dr. J. And I was never worried about, like, like a lot of people said, he's going to down tools. I don't think that's in him to do that. Like, I think he's always going to be a guy who gives, everything when he's out there. But like Drew said, he's not that guy who can finish a one-on-one, or sometimes he does, but like that's not his game. So like when he doesn't, now that we see he's been linked to, was it Brentford, and then people are like, oh, he wants to leave. He's not going to finish, and like I don't see that. I think he's a guy who's going to work hard no matter what, and hopefully, like, and we've talked about in weeks past, like that goal he scored maybe leads to a little bit of boost in confidence, because he had not scored. He didn't score towards the end of last season, even like the last probably 7-8 games, and then into the summer and into the start of this season, having trouble, putting in the net. So like just to see the ball go in the net, hopefully that does something for his confidence. We talked about that with Ida before he left. Like maybe that's all he needed was to, get a couple goals, and then he starts. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on Dyson in terms of Doc, in terms of
I think
how he finishes up?
Yeah, I think my issue is that let's be fair to him, okay? First off, if I'm looking for someone that puts those away, I'm looking at two people that I know I've seen personally play, between Gary Hooper and Lee Griffiths. Those two poachers, right, are going to go ahead and score those goals that Dyson missed. Okay, just how it is. But neither one's going to play out on the wing and be able to score those goals from the wing. So, or neither one's going to press like he did as well. I mean, Griffiths did a little bit as time went on, but he's not that poacher dude. And I think that's what that's what we're used to seeing. And I think that's exactly where the problem is with Ida. He was not that poacher guy either, even though that's what we wanted. That's really, from all the stuff going in through the wings, that's exactly what we're looking for. Kyogo was, to a certain extent as well. So, that kind of situation. So, you're trying to go ahead and fit that square peg into the round hole, and it's kind of tough. and the excuse we're using is that he scored 30 some goals. And I think that's that. And then also we look at it and go, okay, we scored 30 goals, but he's not. But honestly, he's not. Let's just be honest. He's not Gary Hooper. He's not Lee Griffiths. He's not Tiogo as far as the poacher goes, which is really what you need when you have all that possession and you're trying to walk the ball into the net, which is what basically Celtic try and do.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, Iheanacho is that guy who can, get some goals from that position, and then enable Dyson to play on the wing. But then Dyson plays better on the left wing, and then Tanecki looked great on the left wing, and I think he's pretty much exclusively been a left winger. He said in his interview, he did talk about that he had played on the right wing, but he pretty much made it sound, I'll play anywhere the manager wants me to play.
You see, Sean, that's my point. Someone told him to say he can play on the right wing. They should have told him, no, I don't know anything about being asked to come to Celtic earlier.
True. So then moving on. So the penalty in the 93rd minute, even though you saw some Huns on social media, like, how'd they get a penalty? Injury time was only 3 minutes. How'd they get a penalty? Like, they looked at the, VAR for 3 minutes. So, but I digress. Chris, did you think it was a penalty?
I mean, did the ball hit his hand? Did it hit his hand?
It did.
I mean, look, all of the media and all of the people that are like, oh, that's not a penalty. That's not a penalty. So what? So what? How many times did something like this happen and we didn't get a penalty and everybody's like, it was a clear handball and we didn't get it? I mean, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, I don't care.
That's the whole reason it's VAR, right? They looked at it. I mean, Beaton. I mean, as much as I dislike him as a person, I mean, at least he was like, yeah, that's clearly a penalty. So I mean, like, I don't understand when people get upset and they say, well, that wasn't a penalty or whatever. Who cares? I mean, Iheanacho got what is the second touch on the ball, and he's scoring a penalty for us. I mean, come on. You can't, you just can't write this kind of stuff. You just can't write it. But I mean, for me, it was a penalty because it hit his hand.
I mean, I will say, like, Beaton looked at it for like 3 seconds on the monitor and gave it. So, like,
yeah,
he was certain. I don't know. I mean, I probably would have said it was harsh if it was given against us, but I don't know. I think it's one of those kind of 50-50 ones for me. Like, that it could have gone either way. Yes, I don't know. Did you guys think Drew? Did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah, I mean, it hit his hands. It's hard to say that wasn't a penalty, but let's be real. I mean, the Huns have gotten penalties over far less than that. You know what I mean? So the fact that like meathead Chris Boyd over there was like raging about it was just pretty electric to see after the match. But I mean, it was absolutely a Stonewaller penalty, no doubt about it.
Doc, how about you?
Listen, I'm begging for it, and I'm pissed off if we have to give it.
Exactly.
That's just how it is. It isn't a Stonewaller in either direction. So
no, I agree. Like I said, I think it was 50-50.
That's the problem. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's 50-50. I'm going to say it's 70-30. I didn't think it was a pen. I mean, if you look at all the commentary coming out from everyone else who said they were in the room when Willie Collins said that if it comes off a short deflection from somewhere else, it in the hands, whatever, that's not going to be a pen. And when Kettlewell said that, I had this slight suspicion other people heard that as well, and it came out that other people did hear that as well. So then it's like, okay, I understand why he's bent, but I'm begging for it if it happens.
Yeah, no, agree.
And I'm pissed off if we give it. So,
right.
I'm under the impression, right, so after all this stuff, that there's honest mistakes and the shit evens itself out over the rest of the season. Is that right? That's what I've been told in the past.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then we're good. Yeah. Then whatever.
Exactly.
Then I'll talk to you later.
No, I mean, I don't care. I'm thrilled it was given.
Yeah. By the way, I'm still pissed off about Yang's red card from 2 years ago. So don't even talk to me about VA or whatever.
But going to Bobby Killian's comment, there were a couple other they were pretty close. Probably a couple other ones that were I would say 50-50 even, that you really didn't even get a good, and that's part of the problem, I think, with Scottish VAR. There was no real good replay that they showed, at least the viewers on TV, to be able to determine. Like, it was like one quick, barely, it grazed his arm, it hit his arm, but where was his arm? Could we see another angle? And like, no, it wasn't a penalty. No, it's move on. So like that kind of stuff, I think, and I always said that about VAR in Scotland, is like, it just needs better equipment to, because I don't think a lot of cases you can determine that. Like, I always go back to like, remember the first game against the Huns last year at Celtic Park, Kyogo scored and they chalked it off for offsides. And it was, I mean, inches decision. You're drawing lines off of a blurry, you can't determine where that ball was kicked to say, all right, Kyogo's an inch offside. Like those are the kind of things where if you don't have the technology to definitively show it, like, one, I don't think you can overturn a goal like that. But I don't know. Going back to those,
Sean, you say blurry, but you realize that you were watching on Celtic TV. So
no, I wasn't on. This one wasn't on Celtic TV, but I know what you mean. With Celtic TV, it would have been a lot blurrier for me. But.
Yeah, right. Catching strays, but good for them. Anyway.
Then Jimmy V says he was the only one at Cleveland CSC knowing that a penalty would be given. I mean, obviously once it goes to the monitor, 9 times out of 10, I feel like they're going to give it. So they probably had it in Beaton's ear, like that they thought it was a penalty, and he just had to go over and kind of give it a glance.
It very well could have been that, like, they looked at the other two from earlier in the match and they're like, well, we didn't give those. And they're like, how clear was this evidence of this one? And then they looked at it and they were like, yeah, that's a penalty. And they just give it. And like Doc said, it's an honest mistake. And I mean, come on, if Beaton gave it, was given a penalty, then that's what you have to go off of, right?
Oh yeah, Beaton giving it like with, I feel like, barely a look, like he just glanced at it. Yeah, that's penalty, which was shocking in a way, but us Irish Fenians got a penalty for one.
So nice. Here's the question for you: over under 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Okay, over under. In the next VAR TV special for the Scottish FA, where Willie Collum discusses this, how much time does he spend on this one decision?
Over 2.5 minutes? I would say like way over.
5 at least.
I say way under. He's like, his arm was out, he cut the ball, and there you go. That's it. He's going to use Chris's answer. Hit his arm, handball.
Handball.
It hit his hands, and the ball was on the way to goal, which is that even a rule? Is that even part of the law? I think so. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Might not be,
but I don't know. Whatever. It's a penalty. We scored. What do you think of Iheanacho stepping up to take the penalty, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant penalty. I mean, we haven't seen that from any of our strikers. I mean, so far this season, whether it was Zeta or Dyson. So seeing that was a great breath of fresh air. And I think I think him being able to be at a place like this and being with Rodgers, I think this is going to be a good little fit for him. And I know people were talking about his fitness, but I thought he looked all right, to be honest with you. I know that was a big topic about him all throughout the window. So just get him going. I mean, it literally cannot get any worse for us, the striker position. I mean, between him and Kenny and Dyson. So, I mean, just get him going, move Dyson back to his natural spot, and we might be all right.
Agreed. Chris, what did you think when you saw him stepping up?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's a second touch of the ball, he puts it in the back of the net. You can't be unhappy with it. And like Drew just said, I don't think we can really have any complaints. I want him to do the best that he can. So I think he'll be okay. I think his fitness will get there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, definitely. Doc, how about you? I was shitting it. I'll say.
I didn't see it live, so I can only react to it afterwards. But I will say this: his interview of him going to Cal and saying, "Give me the ball."
Yeah, that's good.
That part I like more than the actual finish.
Yep, 100%.
That was the one I like. Ooh,
yeah,
I like that.
Because I mean, for years it's been like, how confident are you guys on any penalty that we've taken? I mean, let alone going into penalty kicks like against the Huns or in the Kairat in the last game.
I knew that one in Kairat. I was like, we lost this match. It's over. Like, as soon as I saw Ada pull it up, I'm like, we're fucked.
Every penalty last 3-4 years have been from behind the fucking couch.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. So
remember Neil Lennon when Chris Commons took the penalty against what's it called? Penalty against
in the Champions League?
Yeah, in the Champions League. And he was like on his knees, looking like sitting on the bench with his head down like this. That's been me the last 3 or 4 years.
I was feeling good about Engels taking penalties for a little while, but they all tend to fall off. And I never want to see Dyson take a penalty ever in my life again. Even when he got the winner against the Huns, he totally flubbed that. And
he even said himself he mishit it.
Oh, I totally remember. I was in the where was I? I was watching that in a brewery in South Jersey with a couple Celtic fans, and when he stepped up to take that penalty, the look that I gave my pal Declan, it was like, what the? And he finished it, but then you look at the replay and you're like, ugh. And he did the same exact thing against Kairat, except it got saved. So yeah, never want to see that again. But it's good to see Iheanacho step up, and then and I feel like we see that celebration once every other year at least, with the 95th minute winner at Rugby Park, and guys jumping into the crowd, and so it's always good to see. The Bruni and who else?
You can't beat it.
Yeah, Rogic did that one somewhat late, not as late as those two, but it's always good to see. All right, so I guess the last thing to talk about is, and we can just give it a couple minutes, the weekend in the League Cup. And I think, Drew, you said it might be a good time to play Bernardo and guys like that. And I think you're totally right. We'll totally see Sinisalo. I think that's almost a given.
Good.
I would think you give McGregor a break, but who knows? Is there any other players you want to see get a little more time this weekend, Chris?
I'd like to see Konecki again. I want to see him kind of do his own thing, and
Chris, you're
hello?
You got a little funky on your audio there. Can you go again?
He's got a glitch in the
I think
matrix.
we lost Chris. I'm gonna mute you for a second. All right, Drew, what do you think?
Yeah, a couple players I'd like to see to be able to get some, continue to get some playing time and gain some confidence. I'd like to see Dane Murray be able to get a proper start. I thought he's looked all right when he's had the opportunity. I thought Colby Donovan has looked pretty decent as well. He might play Tedecki in the first half, the other winger from Belgium as well, maybe him. But I fully expect Rogers to be able to play Engels and McCallan, and then Yang, and then Forrest, and then might have Dyson, and then try to play Nigrin and Tedecki in the second half. But ideally, I like to see a little bit more. Just even trusting just Dane Murray to be able to start off in that back line for me.
I'm going to go with. I want to see Balikwisha play every moment as possible, especially against any type of opposition that would give him some level of confidence to go ahead and attack. I think that would be really important for him. After that, is Trusty healthy? Is he back? Is he training again? I hadn't seen anything on him. I know he had
I haven't seen anything.
His foot issue. But I think Donovan's going to play. I know we're kind of like really, really right back. But the good news is, did you guys see the interview with Alistair Johnson on TV? He says he's probably back a little sooner than normal, which is really, really good because I think some of that activity down the right side, I think that's where we kind of get stuck a little bit. Having that ability to go ahead and attack and then overlap is a little bit of an issue. I like the idea of Sirachi getting some more minutes and giving KT some some rest in games as well. I don't have a problem with that at all. After that, Kenny up front maybe, and let Dyson get a little rest. I mean, you're going to see probably 7 or 8 changes. You might even see Sinisalo get a start this weekend.
Yeah, I think Sinisalo will start, but I could see I think almost a full. I could see 8-9 changes totally easily.
Yeah, but Dane Murray, I mean, he's been solid. I think he could. I think he's not a problem playing against this level of competition, being able to go ahead and work that game over for himself. So I think he'd be totally fine. I have no issue with that at all. Kingsley, nice.
Yeah, so Chris, we lost you when you're in the middle of your what you were saying. So
no, I mean, I just like I think Doc's right. You're going to see wholesale changes. Definitely, I think you'll see Sinisalo in the sticks, and man, we got to do everything to keep him because I think he may be a better keeper long term for sure than Schmeichel.
I 100% agree. I would like to see more of Sinisalo outside of cup matches too, like get him some time in some league games. But what do you think? Paul's comment here, and this I feel like forgotten man.
Yeah,
it's a good shout.
I feel like we almost. I feel like we almost need to see him because, like Manchester City is going to take him back because, like, why send him here if he's not playing at all? And
he's not even making matchday squads.
Yeah, I know.
Which says a lot.
Yeah,
that says quite a bit.
But I'm surprised because he's played like some Champions League matches as well. I mean, over the last couple of seasons. So I'm surprised, like, if he's just lacking the physicality to be able to play like in this league, or if just like his training, or it's so bizarre though. Because I mean, we kind of thought like, all right, we finally got some decent defenders coming in, and then it's just as soon as he signed and had that interview, you'd never seen him again. So
maybe it's attitude too. Like you do see those guys who come from big clubs or EPL, any EPL teams, and they're like, I'm just going to come down here and, roll it. Like, I'm so much better than these guys. And then they get in training, and Murray's out playing them. And
I was going to say, Sean, let's be positive. Let's just say that, you put him up against Murray, and Murray's just a better player.
Right. Yeah, it could be. I mean, in terms of what Brendan's seeing on the training.
Exactly.
Maybe that is. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm excited. I always love these kind of games. Like I said in the beginning, it's good to see some of the different guys get some minutes, and hopefully they perform. Like probably last year, like around this stage when we played Falkirk, and we came out in the first half, and Falkirk was all over us, and then we had to throw out our first team again, really in the second half to be able to finish the game off. Like, you don't want to see that. You want to see the guys, 8-9 changes, being able to control the game like we should against a team like Partick, even away, like at their place, like so. But I think that's all we wanted to talk about tonight. It was good getting you guys together. I think I have my Southern crew tonight, so good to my SEC crowd.
SEC,
which I'm an SEC guy too. Like, I went to Penn State. I went to the Penn State game today, and I was I sent the picture to you, Chris. Me and my nephew was wearing the Kelly Green Jalen Hurts jersey, and I had Celtic hoops on. Penn State's playing Villanova. Literally every fucking person in State College was wearing navy blue and white, except for me. and my nephew,
Yeah, turn
which
the
was
heads.
awesome. So,
That's the way to do it.
yeah. So, but I'm not a Penn State fan. And Chris turned me into a Georgia fan, so I was celebrating Georgia on Saturday.
Boo.
Sorry, Drew.
Boo.
Sorry, Doc.
See, Drew, I still didn't say anything.
I was waiting for something, Chris. I was waiting for a cheeky tag.
Look, as the son of two University of Tennessee graduates, right? This was 1995 for me when Jeff Hall kicked a 50-yarder to beat us
30,
up
yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like you can't cut it any closer than the way it was. So it'll be a shame when we no longer play Tennessee and Georgia Tennessee next year. So
True, but we get an extra SEC win, so I'll take it. So
fair enough.
Yeah, they'll pick up South Carolina on the win trails.
Yeah.
Just how it works.
Closest I've come to fist fights with South Carolina fans.
Not this one.
No, I'm
this
not
one.
saying that. I'm just
No, I know, not this one.
just in general, as a general rule, South Carolina fans want to throw hands a lot.
That's crazy.
That is weird.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, it
So
is.
stupid.
It is what it is.
Anyway, but I enjoy going both. I've been to both games. I've been to games there, Tennessee, and and Georgia, and a South Carolina fan at both. So I've been to Knoxville to go watch. I think they beat them in Halloween about 10, 12 years ago in Knoxville, and got a great picture with someone dressed as the Pope, which was fucking funny as shit. That was really great. And then we got embarrassed, and at Georgia, and I sat there, and apparently the seats are always sold to somebody, through Ticketmaster or whatever. So I'm just sitting there, and they're like, "Oh, of course it's South Carolina fan this week." I'm like, "Hey, listen, I'm only here to watch the game." And after we went down like 34-0 in the first half, I'm like, "All right, bye guys, see you later. It was fun." And then slithered out. So yeah, it's being a South Carolina fan is no fun.
All right, boys. All right, so we'll wrap it up. Thanks for coming on. We'll be back next week, and we got Steve from Fulton County.
Fulton County Fenians.
And then we have to do a little recruiting for our fourth. So you guys might hear from us.
Sounds good.
All right, so hello, boys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Check out.
See ya.